We're diving deep into the top 3 most valuable state quarter dollars that could turn ordinary pocket change, could be worth thousands, even millions of dollars. These aren't just any coins. They're rare minting mistakes and hidden treasures that collectors are hunting for right now. From dramatic errors to ultra-rare varieties, each of these quarters tells a story of lucky history. Today we're diving deep into one of the most mysterious, most valuable, and most sought-after coins in modern U.S. history, the 1999 P-era Connecticut state quarter dollar. This isn't just another coin from your spare change. This is a coin that could literally change someone's life. Some collectors call it the Tree of Riches, a fitting nickname for a coin featuring the famous charter oak, but with a twist so rare that it's sending shockwaves across the numismatic world. Now, before we get into the incredible era varieties and their jaw-dropping values, let's step back in time to 1999. It was the very first year of the U.S. State Quarters program, a massive initiative by the U.S. Mint that changed American coin collecting forever. Each quarter in the series featured a design celebrating one of the 50 states, with 5 new designs released each year. The program kicked off with Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Georgia, and Connecticut. Let's start with one of the most famous and valuable errors, the 1999 P Connecticut quarter struck on the wrong planchet. This happens when the coin is accidentally struck on a metal blank meant for a different denomination. For example, some Connecticut quarters were struck on nickel or dime plankets, making them smaller, thinner, and missing parts of their design. These types of errors are extremely rare, and when they show up, collectors go crazy. One such coin, a 1999 P Connecticut quarter struck on a dime planchet, sold at auction for over $10,000. Think about that, a 25-cent coin, smaller than normal, missing parts of the design, and yet worth more than most people make in a month. Another jaw-dropping error is the off-center strike. In this case, the coin is not perfectly aligned when it's struck by the dies, causing part of the design to be missing and the image to appear off to one side. The more off-center it is, while still showing the date and mint mark, the more valuable it becomes. Some of these off-center 1999 P Connecticut quarters have sold for between $1,000 to $5,000, depending on the percentage of the off-center strike. And then there are the Broadstrike errors, where the coin is struck without the retaining collar that normally shapes its edge. These coins appear wider and flatter than usual, and collectors love them for their dramatic look. A flawless Broadstrike error on a 1999 P Connecticut quarter can bring in anywhere from $500 to $2,000 at auction. But perhaps the most exciting and mysterious variety is the double die error. This happens when the design on the die is impressed twice at slightly different angles, creating a doubled appearance on the letters, numbers, or even the design elements, like the tree branches. Some of the 1999 P Connecticut quarters show subtle but visible doubling on the words Connecticut, the Charter Oak, and United States of America. Coins with clear, strong doubling have sold for thousands and in pristine, mint condition. Experts estimate their value could reach as high as $20,000 or more. Collectors also chase after struck-through errors, where foreign material like grease, cloth, or even small bits of metal accidentally get between the die and the planchet during striking. This can cause parts of the design to appear missing or distorted. While these aren't as valuable as major planchet or double die errors, a dramatic struck-through example can still fetch hundreds to a few $1,000s, depending on how eye-catching the error. The 2000 error Ohio State quarter dollar has become one of the most thrilling and valuable coins to ever roll out of the U.S. Mint State Quarters program. A coin that many people thought was just an ordinary piece of pocket change has shocked collectors worldwide with rare minting mistakes that transformed it from a mere quarter into a numismatic gold mine. Let's set the stage. It was the year 2002, the 4th year of the wildly popular 50 State Quarters program launched by the U.S. Mint in 1999. Every year, 5 states got their turn to be featured on the quarter, each with its own unique design representing its heritage. When it came time for Ohio, the Mint honored a state that's known as the birthplace of aviation pioneers. The reverse of the coin proudly shows the famous Wright Flyer aircraft soaring through the sky above the outline of the state, with the astronaut Neil Armstrong, a native of Ohio, standing next to it, symbolizing humanity's giant leap from flight to space. Let's talk about one of the most astonishing errors. First, the 2000 Ohio quarter struck on the wrong planchet. This happens when the coin is accidentally struck on a blank metal disc meant for another denomination. Imagine a quarter-sized design appearing on a smaller dime planchet or a golden Sacagawea dollar planchet. These wrong planchet strikes are extremely rare and visually stunning. One confirmed 2000 to D Ohio quarter struck on a dime planchet sold for over $8,000. And an experimental planchet version, believed to be part of the Mint's alloy testing program, fetched nearly $20,000 at auction. But that's just the beginning. Another highly desirable variety is the off-center strike error. This happens when the planchet isn't correctly aligned with the dies when struck, resulting in part of the design being missing or shifted off to one side. Some of these off-center 2000 to D Ohio quarters show as much as 60% of the design missing while still displaying the date and mint mark. These are the kind of eye-catching errors that collectors love, and depending on how dramatic the off-center strike is, values can range from $500 to over $5,000. Then there's the Broadstrike error, another crowd favorite. When a coin is struck without the retaining collar that normally forms its edge, it expands outward, appearing wider and flatter than usual. These errors give the coin an unusual shape and often attract bidders at coin shows and auctions. A 2000 to D Ohio Broadstrike in mint condition can bring anywhere from $1,000 to $3,500. But one of the most fascinating and potentially lucrative errors for this coin is the double die error. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin has been imprinted twice at slightly different angles, causing certain parts of the design, like the lettering, numbers, or image details to appear doubled. On the Ohio quarter, doubling can sometimes be seen on the words United States of America, Ohio, birthplace of aviation pioneers, or even the outline of the airplane. A strong double die error in uncirculated condition can easily fetch $10,000 or more, especially if certified by PCGS or NGC. We also can't forget the struck-through errors. These occur when a foreign object, like a piece of cloth, metal shavings, or grease gets between the die and the blank during the strike. The result is a coin with parts of its design missing or distorted. A 2000 to D Ohio quarter with a major struck-through grease error, for example, once sold for $2,000. And more dramatic examples with visible texture or deep impressions have crossed the $5,000 mark. Some collectors have already struck gold, a 2000 to D Ohio quarter with a double strike error, where the coin was struck twice in slightly different positions, sold for nearly $7,500. Another, with both an off-center strike and a broad strike error, realized over $10,000 at auction. And an experimental wrong planchet strike, rumored to have been part of the Mint's test batch, has been estimated to be worth over $50,000 if it ever resurfaces on the market. One of the most legendary modern U.S. coins ever discovered, the 2000 for D-era Wisconsin state quarter dollar. This coin, with its shocking minting mistake, created one of the biggest coin collecting frenzies in American history. It transformed ordinary pocket change into a treasure hunt, sending collectors racing to check their spare quarters for a tiny detail that could make them rich beyond imagination. The story of the 2000 for D Wisconsin state quarter begins with the U.S. Mint's incredibly popular 50 state quarters program. Launched in 1999, this program released 5 new quarter designs each year, honoring the unique history and culture of all 50 states. When it came time to celebrate Wisconsin in 2004, the Mint chose a design that represented the state's proud agricultural heritage. On the reverse of the coin, you'll find 3 simple but powerful symbols: a cow, a wheel of cheese, and an ear of corn. Together, they stand for the state's nickname, America's Dairyland. When the news broke, the value of these error coins skyrocketed overnight. The first few examples of the 2000 for D extra leaf Wisconsin quarters sold for hundreds of dollars. Then, as the frenzy grew, prices surged into the thousands. In one dramatic auction, a pristine example of the 2000 for D extra high leaf Wisconsin quarter sold for over $6,000. Another coin with the extra low leaf variety fetched an incredible $7,500. And the values didn't stop there today. Top-graded, certified examples in MS67 or higher can sell for $10,000 to $15,000, depending on the market and condition. Some experts even believe that if a perfect MS70 specimen of either leaf variety were ever discovered, it could be worth over $60,000 or more. And that's just for the known varieties. There are also whispers in the coin collecting community of transitional or hybrid errors coins that may show partial leaf impressions or both high and low leaf markings. If one of those ever surfaced, its value could easily climb into the hundreds of thousands, possibly even reaching that $1 million mark that every collector dreams. Now, let's talk about some of the other rare and valuable error types found among the 2,000 for D Wisconsin quarters. While the extra leaf varieties get most of the attention, there are also off-center strikes, broadstrikes, and clipped Planchets that have surfaced over the years. An off-center to 1,000 for D Wisconsin quarter, where part of the design is missing due to misalignment, can sell for $500 to $2,000, depending on how dramatic the error is. Broad strike examples, where the coin appears wider and flatter due to missing edge collars, can bring in between $300 and $1,200. And clipped Planchet versions, with part of the metal missing from the edge, often sell for $200 to $1,000. There are also rare double die errors reported for this coin. Collectors have identified minor doubling on the words Wisconsin and forward, as well as on the cow's features and the ear of corn. Strong examples of doubling, when confirmed, have sold for $2,000 to $5,000, making them another valuable variety to look out for. One of the most visually striking errors is the missing clad layer variety, US. Quarters are made of a copper-nickel sandwich, but sometimes one of the outer layers is missing, leaving the coin with a bright copper appearance on one side. A 2,000 for D Wisconsin quarter with a missing clad layer can easily fetch $1,000 to $3,500, and even more if it's one of the extra leaf varieties.